What's up, y'all? My name's Ghazi. I'm an engineer by day, entrepreneur by night, and I'm documenting my journey to grow my business to $10,000 per month. So, in this video, I'm going to be reacting to an Alex Hormozi video about the single most important thing holding most small business owners back. And I'm going to react to it and apply it to my own business and my current struggles. And I'm going to see what I can do to improve my business. And hopefully that'll be helpful for y'all if you're just starting a business or if you're thinking about starting a business. But yeah, let's get straight into it. All right.
Because they have won the long game, and the long game is the LTV game. It's how much is a customer worth to me? And so Dan Kennedy said this a long time ago, he who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And I rephrase that as he who can make his customers the most valuable wins. Because being able to spend the most is a product of how much you make a customer worth to you, which is a function of what the gross profit is and how many times they buy. And the how many times they buy function has a direct proportion to how good the quality of the product is. And by the way, when you improve the quality of your product, guess what happens? You get referrals. Now think about this. We have to play this out 2-3 steps.
So he's getting at what the main thing that stops most business owners from succeeding is, and that's just going to be the product. So in order to ensure that your business continues regardless of how good your marketing is, you need to improve your product. And I think that might be the thing that is stopping my business from growing at a rapid pace.
3 steps. If you start marketing, let me tell you some truths that will not change. Advertising will always become more expensive. The cost per eyeball will always go up. You look at CPMs on Facebook, you look at CPMs on YouTube. The cost per eyeball will always go up on every platform. And as you scale, your advertising will go to colder and colder audiences, and it will become less and less efficient. This happens at scale. These are truths. These will not change. These are facts. And so if you want to scale a business, how can you scale if there have 2 things that are going in a linear direction against you? The cost of advertising to reach the eyeball goes up, and the conversion percentage of those eyeballs also goes up because you go to a bigger and bigger audience that knows less and less. They're less problem aware, and you have less product aware, and you have to do more education up front to a less interested audience. This happens. This is an inevitability. And so how do you combat that? By having referrals. And referrals come from every sale. And so if every sale, 1, that person keeps buying, and 2, they send you another customer, guess what happens? That CAC gets cut in half. And so you need an equally strong compounding vehicle that works in your favor to maintain your LTV to CAC ratio. And so when you improve product, you also decrease.
And real quick, just if y'all don't know, LTV is basically the lifetime value of a client, and CAC is the cost it takes to acquire said client. So basically, if I have a client for 6 months, they pay me $100 per month, and then they leave after that 6 month, then the LTV would be $600. So that's what he's talking about with this right here.
Increase CAC via referrals at scale. So it doesn't matter how much scale you have. If you deliver an exceptional product, you will be able to have, you always know that 1.3 customers, or every customer brings you, 0.3 new customers on top of that. So you decrease your cost to acquire by 30%.
And yeah, that's a fact. So he's talking about referrals and how increasing the value in your product leads to a better product, which leads to more referrals, which leads to customers staying long term, which then increases your LTV. So yeah, that's a fact. That's absolutely, that should be the end goal with every business, to create a product that people keep on buying or stay subscribed to because of the immense value that the product gives to them.
And you get the LTV boost that happens on the back end as well, which is that they buy more and they spend longer, they're willing to pay a premium, and so forth. And the third wheel of that in terms of product is that product is the end of the brand cycle. So if you think about brand as a reinforcing loop, right? In the beginning, when you start a company, you make a promise. Fundamentally, that's how you enter marketplace. You say, I'm going to solve this problem. That is my promise to you. All right. And anyone can say that. What builds the business over the long term is your ability to deliver on that promise. Otherwise, it's the same reason you see all these fucking internet marketers who start a new business every 6 months. And the new business is they're like, I gotta find the next offer because they're so front end obsessed because they never figure out what was wrong with your first offer. People bought it. The problem is
Yeah, so what he's talking about is people going from offer to offer because they find one offer, they get a lot of clients, they can't deliver on that offer. So they say, okay, I'm going to go to a different offer. And they do the same thing and they just repeat that cycle over and over again. And so what he's talking about, in order to make sure that that doesn't happen, you need to find an offer and stick with that offer for 1 year, for multiple years, so that you can find the little things that make that offer more valuable and focus on providing that offer for your clients and making sure that they get a lot of value out of that.
you couldn't deliver on it. And so just little Vegas warning sign, by the way, if you see the same guy changing up his offer every 6 months, it's because he doesn't know how to keep his promises. He lacks the skill of product. He lacks the skill of delivery. He lacks the skill of being able to recruit, hire, and manage a team that can deliver consistently. He lacks that skill. And so honestly, what happens to that person? Over time, their reputation gets degraded. You start saying this guy's a has-been. He's washed up. All he does is promote new stuff. He's a shill. He just sells whatever is hot. And many of you are that person. That you keep trying to find new ways to get leads when you just can't keep your promises. If you keep your promises and you put all your focus there, your CAC will go down and will continue to go down. And that's what's crazy, is that the more you do that, the more you reinforce the brand loop because you make.
So he's saying the better your services are, the more your CAC goes down. So if I paid, let's say I paid $100 for paid ads and I got 2 clients from it, right? And then I delivered a service. It was a great service. So instead of me paying another $100 to get more clients, those clients could potentially get me more clients through referrals. And so over time, my CAC will go down because my service provides so much value that attracts customers to me over time. So that's what he's talking about when he says, like, the better your product is, the more your CAC goes down.
You make a promise, you keep that promise. And then the people you keep the promise to tell other people you kept the promise. And then that decreases your CAC. The inverse of that, and this is there's a quantitative test for this. If you run advertisements and your cost to acquire a customer increases at a faster rate than the average cost of CPMs, the cost per impression in your market, then it means you have word of mouth working against you. Think about this. Everyone understands positive word of mouth. We all get that, right? We're like, oh yeah, I get referrals. Did you know that you have far more negative referrals? You have way more detractors. You have way more people that when they see an ad of your business, what do? They reach out to other people to ask about you. And then people who would have purchased choose not to based on information they get online or asking someone they know. And so your conversion rate decreases over time. You complain that ads aren't working, when in reality, all of this is the invisible hand of your product sucking. I get passionate about this because I see it so many times. And
So I guess my takeaway from this so far is that whenever a business is having a problem, especially a small business, it usually comes down to your service isn't good enough. Your service isn't providing enough value for the client. And so I think that's what's wrong with my business. And that's where I need to improve. Because I guess basically I have 2 services that I'm offering right now. Basically, it's a website with Google reviews for contractors, and then AI automation plus a landing page for fitness coaches. So what I'm thinking about doing is just like dedicating myself to these 2 offers and trying to find different things that I can add on to it to make it more valuable. Because another thing that I'm realizing is that in order for me to hit that 10K per month that I'm going for, I need to sell high ticket offers. I need to increase the amount of money that I'm getting per client, which means I need to increase their LTV. The way I do that is by adding more value with my services. So in order to charge a contractor 1,500 per month, I need to get them 50K per month based on the service that I'm getting them. I need to make my service more valuable. So that just means either adding stuff on or switching my offer completely and focusing on something that adds real value to my potential clients.
And it's the thing that keeps you stuck. And so the only way to combat this is to become a world-class marketer and just only know how to sell shit. And hey, if you're selling to a really big market, and I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a lot of really big name marketers that the only reason they make money is because they sell to the ocean of humanity and they only need one transaction. And they spend all of their time trying to arbitrage media. As in, they know what their cost per impression is, they know how much they make, and they just jam as much as they can in there. But that's not a business. That is a cash flow job that you get really good at with that skill. But that's also why marketers have terrible reputations. Building a brand is, in my opinion, the good side of marketing. And the brand is simply the associations that people have with your product. And if those associations are positive, then you build that reputation, you build that positive association, and that takes time. But if you make the brand your end goal, then you will be able to charge higher prices than other people for the exact same thing, and people will purchase from you because from a value equation perspective, their perceived likelihood of achievement goes up, their risk associated with the purchase in terms of what they believe their ease and the ease of achieving what they're going to get goes up. And even if your time delay is slower, they have so much conviction that you're going to deliver on your promise that they're willing to pay the premium.
Yeah, so and this video too is titled "You Get Rich by Focusing on Not Getting Rich." So what he's basically saying is that in order to get rich, you need to create a brand, and that brand needs to be based on deliverability. So I guess what I need to do is create a brand that works. So if I tell my client, hey, I'm going to get you 5 extra customers with my landing page, or I'm going to get you 5 extra customers with the reviews that I get you, I need to be able to deliver on that promise so that he gets value out of my service and then tells his friend, and then they tell their friend. And then it's just a recurring, a loop of goodwill because of the service that I've given him.
And so your cost to acquire customers goes down at scale. Brand-driven advertising is more profitable than the pure, scammy, direct response stuff. It just takes longer. And so I'll tell you a story that happened for probably the first time I really saw this was when I was probably a year into gym launch. We're ripping and roaring, right, in terms of scale, and everyone's just printing money using the system that we had, right? And I launched something called I think I called it LNS at the time, which was like lead nurture system. It's something like that. I can't remember what I called it. But basically, it was ALN. It was automated lead nurture. That's what it was. ALN. And so I did this big webinar. I did this big launch, and because gym owners are business owners, there's a number of them that couldn't make it on the live, but they heard that I had sold this thing. The amount of people that reached out after the webinar, not having seen the webinar, and said, "Hey, here's my credit card number. Whatever it is, just give it to me. If he launched it, I know it's good." I had never had that happen in my life, and I was like, "How do I never stop this from happening again? I want this to always be my norm." And
like if you're able to get to that point where based on your brand and based on your past achievements, people are willing to put their money and put their faith into you, then like you've succeeded, like you can't fail. And that I think that's going to be my long-term goal, being able to deliver on every promise I give out so that my business will continue in an upward trajectory until I'm able to hit that 10K per month that I'm going for.
it reinforced so strongly how important it was to keep your promises. And so there's a relationship that I think is missed a lot, especially in the info and online space, and I want to hit on this, but it applies to all businesses, is that there's 3 lines that you have to keep in touch with. You have the price that you charge, you have the value that they get, and then you have the cost associated with delivering the thing. And
That's a fact. That's a fact. The price that you charge, the value that you give, and then the cost associated with delivering that service. So if I want to charge 1,500 for a contractor. I want to charge a contractor $1,500 for my service. I need to be able to produce like 20 to 50K, and maybe that's like 10 clients for them. So maybe I need to be able to give them 10 new clients. And then the work on my end to be able to deliver that service needs to be low so that I can duplicate it and do it to multiple people. That's a great point.
And so you want these lines to be as far apart as humanly possible. All of them. You want them to be spread out super, super far. You want to have crazy high value at the top. You want a price that's a premium. And then you want to have a lot of juice left over relative to your cost. And the way to get that kind of space between your cost and your price is to do the work of the 100 details that your competitors aren't willing to do. They're not willing to find out that when someone walks in the restaurant, if we find out what their name is in the car, we can greet them by name. Small thing, right? And we have the waitresses all write down on the receipt what their name is and say, thanks for coming in. Al. Whatever. Right? And we try to make sure that they all get their waters within 30 seconds of sitting down. We make sure that they get their bread within 2 minutes. We make sure that we check in every 5 or every 10 or whatever we've tested has been the right amount. And maybe it comes down to asking the customer up front, hey, is this something you want to like? Do you want me to come like, is this a fast dinner or is this something you want to like juice and enjoy? I will match your cadence. Maybe simply asking the question draws attention to the fact that you care. It might not even matter what you do, but maybe simply asking the question improves their experience. And so it's these 100 BBs, no silver bullets. That the good news is that your competition is lazy as fuck. It's so easy. Think about how many businesses, like I do business with a lot of businesses on a personal level, on a business level. I would not recommend most of them. And the thing is that those vendors think that I'm an amazing customer. I'm a hair away from being a detractor. And many of you have customers that are a hair away from being a detractor. Sometimes you got customers who pay for your thing and still tell people not to buy it. Many of you are creating stories that you tell yourselves to make yourself feel better about why your product isn't as good as it should be, but you have an excuse that only you need to believe. And you believe that excuse, so it excuses you from working harder on the stuff you know you should be doing but aren't. And that work, the work you know you should be doing but aren't, is the opportunity, because that is the work that your competitors also aren't doing. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, it is so easy to beat people today. They are so soft. They have no work ethic. No one can stick with anything. Everyone's distracted. They're on social media. They're counting their fucking notifications because they can't stick with shit. They can't say no. The point of that first phase of growing the business, because you start making sales, is to get better, not to get rich. The point in the first phase is to learn, not to earn. If I started a new cleaning business tomorrow, the first year would just be trying to nail the model. I wouldn't be thinking about what we're growing every month. I wouldn't care. I would only be focused on how can we make this experience so that no one leaves. And that's all my obsession is, because I know that once that happens, whether you sell 1 customer a month or 5 customers a month or 10 customers a month, your business will not stop growing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a fact. I ain't gonna lie. And that's pretty much it. Start yapping about other stuff towards the end. But that's pretty much like what I took away from this video was that I need to increase the value that I'm giving so that I can increase the money that I'm making per client. So if that means that I need to be able to ensure that every client I work with gets an extra 10 customers because of my service, then that's what I'm gonna have to do. The limiting factor for my business is the fact that my service isn't providing enough value. So I need to work on my service in order to fix that. And when he's talking about people aren't willing to put in the work, they're not willing to put in that time it takes to develop a good service, that's where I need to be willing to work for less money. So I think going forward, the next people that the next clients that I onboard, like I'm gonna be charging them like next to nothing, because I want to be able to work with them so that I can find out all of their small troubles that I can help fix, so that when I get another client, I can start charging that $1,500 to $2,000 price range. So when I work with contractors, when I work with fitness coaches, I'm going to charge them less than I normally would so that I can work with them and solve all of their small issues that become larger issues and that prevent them from being as successful as they should be, as they could be. So yeah, I think going forward, I'm just going to keep on optimizing my services, and I'm going to try to add on to it so that I can create a high value solution that my clients, my potential clients, are willing to pay high ticket for. And so that I can grow my business on autopilot with referrals and with people like shouting me out and saying, hey, I work with this dude and he completely delivered on his promise. And he's the reason why I was able to scale my personal fitness business, my fitness coaching business, or I was able to scale my contracting business. So that's going to be the plan moving forward. And I'm going to just keep optimizing and refining my services so that I can provide more value to my clients. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. This Alex Hormozi video was very enlightening for me, and I'm glad I stumbled upon it because this definitely showed something that I need to work on and something that a lot of people just starting out in entrepreneurship need to work on as well. So yeah, that's it for me. This is week 6 of trying to grow my business to $10,000 a month. Let's just continue grinding. Let's continue putting in the work, and let's try to get 1% better every single day.